Now, there's a little bit more I want to say about Mars. We're basically done with Mars itself. Does anybody know if Mars has any moons? Does Mars have any moons? Two moons. Okay. Yes, Mars has two moons. And I'm going to show you a picture of them right now. Let me go down. Here we go. Here is a close-up picture of Mars's two moons. Okay? Now, if we look here, what do these look like? What do these moons look like? What do these moons look like? Asteroids. Yes, and that makes sense. They look a lot like asteroids. And if we look here at the size, these are way smaller than our moon by a lot. This is only 4 kilometers right here, so that's maybe 12 kilometers wide for Phobos here. And Deimos over here is maybe 12 kilometers wide. So these are very small moons. If you were standing on the surface of Mars, you would probably have a real hard time seeing these moons in the sky. They would look like little dots, like stars. And the reason they look like asteroids is, if you remember in class, back when we were allowed to go to campus, we talked about where these moons came from. These are probably captured asteroids from the asteroid belt. Okay? These are probably captured asteroids from the asteroid belt. Another reason that we think that they're captured asteroids is that their orbits are very unstable. Phobos here has an orbit that slowly shrinks every time it goes around Mars. So what does that mean will eventually happen to Phobos if its orbit shrinks every time it goes around Mars? Yes, one day, after millions and millions of years, eventually Phobos will land on Mars. And that's going to be a big deal when that eventually happens, because this particular asteroid right here, or this former asteroid, this moon, is a little bit bigger than the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. So we'll get to kind of see what that looks like a little bit. We'll probably have satellites set up to take close-up videos of that as it goes on. We probably don't want to get those satellites anywhere close to that impact, though, because what will happen? What will happen if we put a satellite too close to that impact? Oh yeah, it'll definitely be a waste of money, because it will be vaporized. Somebody said dust and rock could destroy it at a far distance, but if it's really close, it could just get vaporized by the heat and light that comes out of that particular eruption. So we don't want to put like a rover near it because it'll be vaporized. Somebody's asking when it will happen. We will definitely not be alive. It's losing a few inches every year, give or take, and I'm not exactly sure exactly how much distance it's losing every year, but it's small like that. So it's going to take millions of years for this to hit. And it's actually possible that Deimos over here, it looks like it might have an orbit that's getting bigger every year. So what does that mean would eventually happen to Deimos right here? If Deimos's orbit gets bigger every year, what will maybe happen to Deimos? Yeah, if it gets too far away from the gravity of Mars, it will essentially be just flung back out into space. So if you wait long enough, Mars might not have any moons anymore. Oh, and by the way, Phobos and Deimos here, the names come from Greek mythology. These are both gods that served the god of war, which makes sense because Mars is the god of war. Does anybody know what Phobos is the god of? There is a modern word in English that comes from this word that should help you figure out what that's the god of. Yeah, Phobos is the god of fear. That Greek god's name is actually where the word phobia comes from. And as somebody in one of the classes posted, Deimos over here is the god of terror. So the god of fear and the god of terror serve the god of war, which makes sense if you think about it. Last thing I should say about these moons. Would it be a good idea to go out and just take a walk on these moons? Would that be a good idea? No. It would be a very bad idea. It might be fun for a second, but these things are way, way, way smaller than our moon. What does that mean for, and that's in terms of mass and size, what does that mean for the amount of gravity these moons have? What's the amount of gravity these guys have compared to our moon? Right. Some people are seeing why this would be a bad idea. These guys have very low gravity, so if you tried to walk on them and tripped over your own foot, that would be enough for you to fly off into space. So if I was just like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" and I hit the back of one of my feet with my other foot, I just whoa, whoa. So it's very, very easy to accidentally fly off into space if you're trying to walk on these moons. So we're not, when we send people to go hang out on Mars, we're never going to try to get somebody to walk on this because that's just a death sentence. You'll be lost to space unless you're tied down.